I'm Dr. Kathleen Janelle, and I've been away a little bit. I haven't been recording as much just because I've been lecturing and trying to get the word out there that people really don't have to use these crazy antibiotic treatments that work 50% of the time for their SIBO symptoms. So I wanted to share you a story from someone I followed up with this week, and this is kind of a complicated case because this particular woman sent in a plethora of lab work that she'd had done over the last couple of years to try and get to the bottom of her symptoms. And she'd also had just finished radiation for breast cancer diagnosis and was doing well with that. But she'd had Marcon's testing done. She'd had functional stool testing done. She'd had SIBO testing done, was treated with rifaximin, and then repeated the test and had the same results, which actually happens 50% of the time. You take a SIBO test, you take antibiotics as the treatment, you retake the test, 50% of the time, it doesn't improve. She'd had more functional stool testing. She'd had mycotoxin testing. She'd had some of the immune labs done. She'd had microbial organic acid testing done, tons of this stuff. And she'd been seeing many doctors, many at the same time. And so I want to just focus on the digestion because that's the thing that was interfering with her life from day to day. So here's what she told me when I first saw her. It feels like her digestive system is on fire. She has tons of gas. She's burping gas. She has flatulence that's really smelly. She's bloating in the mid-abdomen, and she cannot eat after 12 o'clock because her belly is so full of gas and distended. Her bowels are moving, but with a lot of gas and incomplete, and then she'll have episodes of diarrhea. Her food isn't digesting completely. She has a huge amount of heartburn, reflux all the time that breaks through on her acid blockers, even when she's taking the maximum dose of the PPIs, proton pump inhibitors. So her diet was, when I saw her, she was for the first time, she was avoiding garlic, onions. She was dairy-free, gluten-free, egg-free. She'd been on the FODMAP diet for years. She's on the FODMAP diet for years, and yet she has all this gas and bloating. So that's probably not gonna fix it by going on a diet. It's more than that. All she was eating really was potatoes, greens, carrots, quinoa, goat yogurt, chicken, and bananas. That's her entire diet for years and years, and yet still having all these symptoms. So what I did was, when I first saw her, we did a lot of just, talking and getting all this history. She had her sister there with her to help. And she was very frustrated. And, she should have been very frustrated. She wasn't getting good answers. She was being treated and not getting better, at least for the GI stuff. Yeah, she was scared and frustrated. I actually had a student with me for her first couple of visits to observe the progress of the treatment. And we both noted her level of anxiety was very high, probably because of all of this. Who are you going to trust if you've gone to 10 or 20 doctors who've told you, take this breath test and then take this antibiotic, but it doesn't change. And that's why I'm doing these videos, because I don't like that treatment. I don't like that test. The test is inaccurate. 30% of the time it's going to give you a false positive, and 40% of the time it's going to give you a false negative. And people should not be taking antibiotics for such an inaccurate test. It's over-treatment. It's unnecessary. Back to the story. Okay. So I sent her away with a teeny tiny dose of GI1, and I did that intentionally because you can have a die-off Herx reaction from it. You can have intolerance reactions, and I didn't want her to think, here's another thing that's not working. So I gave her a teeny tiny dose. And I remember getting a lot of communication between her first and her second appointment, a lot of questions coming through. And we just kind of, that's all I want you to do. That's all I want you to do. So when she came back for her follow-up appointment, which was a few weeks later, looks like, about 3 weeks later, nothing had really changed with her digestion. I was expecting that. In fact, I told her that, but it's hard to remember when you really want to have results. So at that point, we started to increase her dose of the GI1 powder. I got her up to 2 teaspoons. And then she went off and was doing other things. In the meantime, I think she'd, same thing, always looking for answers. So she'd gone to a few other doctors and had some more testing done. So she brought in lots of other tests that she provided me with information from. And then we got her update on 2 teaspoons of GI1, and that lasted, let's see, her check-in was 4 weeks later. So 4 weeks of that dose. And what she told me was all her GI symptoms had improved. She told me that, hang on, gotta find my notes. Oh yeah, here we go. She wasn't having any more heartburn or reflux. Her bowel movements were formed, and she was only having 2 bowel movements a day. Her gas had improved. She denied having any more bloating, and the only time she ever experienced abdominal pain was when she was taking her estrogen blocking drug for her post-cancer diagnosis, and then her oncologist switched that out, so she didn't have that anymore either. So that appointment was in October of 2022. So now we're at currently almost February of 2023. I saw her this week, and the same thing. She's just has no digestive complaints at all. And now she can go back to dealing with the more serious and life-threatening issues. Not that abdominal symptoms aren't serious. They're not life-threatening, which is one of the reasons why I don't think they get the kind of attention, that something else that would put you in the hospital tomorrow might get, which makes sense. But they do interfere with your life. If you can't leave your home because of digestive system symptoms, and you don't know when it's going to spring itself on you, wherever you might be, then it really interferes with how you can just go ahead and live your life. I've got plenty of other videos and information on my YouTube channel, on my Instagram, and I just don't want you to take antibiotics for SIBO, point blank, and I want you to be well.